Alright, today's Whiskey Play video is going to be for anybody who might be interested in the new game Ultimate General Civil War. It's still in early access, which means it's not a complete game yet. There's some stuff I believe that they'll probably still be adding in addition to many more battles and completing the campaign. But there is a fair few things I noticed that were in the Ultimate General Gettysburg game that haven't made it into this version yet, and I'm hoping they do. Namely, the most important one that I haven't seen is the contour map ability. By pressing M, you used to be able to turn on contours. I haven't seen that in the new battles yet. It doesn't, at least the M button doesn't work to turn on contours. The battlefields are really nicely drawn, but as part of that, some of the shading and effects, it makes it kind of difficult to tell terrain. Without the contours being on, so hopefully they'll re-add that. Anyway, I'll go ahead and play the first part of the first Battle of Bull Run here. Will be the Union, and I'm going to play on easy mode because I don't really know what I'm doing yet. Our strength is going to be, the enemy's strength is going to be 25 less. So here's kind of the overall kind of overview of the battle of the troop dispensation. So we've got suspected Confederate forces all along this area. This is a major pike, which is what they used to call large roads, that comes across Bull Run here at this stone bridge, and this is Bull Run itself. So the Confederates had been guarding most of these fords kind of to the south and east historically, and so basically what happened was McDowell, who was one of the first leaders of the Union Army, there was a series of many of them that were replaced early in the war. McDowell came around above the fork where Bull Run forked into, I can't remember the two streams, but one of them was, basically they're smaller rivers. So he came around there and then came in on this hill here, and then found early success and actually came all the way across Bull Run, or this other creek here, and across the pike and started attacking this hill. The Confederate forces then counterattacked and drove them back across the pike. That's kind of historical battle. I'll go ahead and show you. This is a little bigger picture. So this is the Warrenton Pike. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name of it. Anyway, this is the Warrenton Pike that I was talking about with the stone bridge. So the view I just showed you was kind of just this upper area. Matthews Hill was the hill where the Union first encountered Confederate resistance. They pretty quickly overran Matthews Hill. It looked like it was going to be a Union victory, but the Confederates were just falling back to Henry Hill, because basically the Confederates only had a small outpost up here. They thought the Union was going to come across. I think Blackburn's Ford was where they really predicted it. But anyway, they had Mitchell's Ford, Blackburn's Ford, and Union Mills really locked down. And so basically they just pulled back from Matthews Hill until they had time to bring up reinforcements. This is where everybody was in the morning. Between 1 and 3 p.m., as you can see, they've since fallen back from Matthews Hill, and the Confederates set up their really stout line on Henry Hill, and this is where they basically stopped the Union advance. And then, like a lot of battles in the Civil War, the interesting thing here was the defenders soon become the attackers because the Union gets a little too strung out, and as the reinforcements come up, they're able to kind of get around the flank of the Union to the west there and basically drive the Union back, and the Union end up having to retreat across Warrenton Pike, and basically then retreated back across Bull Run as well. So it ended up being a Confederate victory. Obviously in the game here we'll see if we can try to take Henry Hill. I'm not sure if, I don't know, if basically if the Union would have won this battle in real life and established kind of a crossing of Bull Run, it might have ended the war pretty early. The fact that the South won kind of gave them enough kind of political capital to keep going and keep fighting the war. So anyway, that's kind of the background. I'm just going to fight the first part of it. There's kind of three little mini scenarios built into this scenario. The first part is me doing a diversion attack on the stone bridge, but if I can go across it, I'll go across it while my other forces come around to the north and west, and we try to attack Matthews Hill. That's probably where I'll end the video, and then eventually the second part of the scenario is going on to attack Matthews Hill, and then the third part is surviving the subsequent Confederate counterattack when all their forces get up. So you can pull up the details of your army, you can pull up the details of the enemy army. As of right now, I don't have all of these basically I don't have all these groups up yet, but anyway, you can see total number of soldiers is pretty even. I do have more guns than they do, and our overall organization is different. We obviously basically have half as many brigades, so ours will typically be larger, but that's not always the case. There are some very, very large Confederate brigades as well. Specifically, I don't know if they show, but most of these are small brigades, and then yeah, but like 2,290 men that's a pretty good sized brigade. I think they've got one that's like almost 3,000 men. I've got a couple that are about 3,000 men. Keyes, Sherman, Burnside. Anyway, we'll go ahead and start the battle, and it'll give us a brief rundown here. The rebels are guarding Manassas Railroad Junction. That's eastward of our location. That's basically the area that I pointed out on the Wikipedia maps. So we're going to try and attack across. This is that stone bridge for the Warrenton Pike. This is the Warrenton Pike. I really think these maps are drawn very nicely. So we're going to try to do a diversion attack across there, but our main force is going to come across this fort of Bull Run up here. Okay. And then we're going to look to try to strike all the way across Henry Hill. So again, I don't know why it's breaking this down twice for me, but now we're breaking down the initial scenario of what we should do. So we're going to execute a feint attack at the stone bridge. They're guarding the stone bridge, though, while we bring around our force to the north here. And we're going to try to launch our full-scale attack at their flank. I like that they've done this. They've kind of broken it down. Okay, so the first part of our scenario here, I'm going to go ahead and hit pause. This is Matthews Hill. This is what we're going to try to take immediately. And then our secondary objective is eventually going to be Henry Hill and this Warrenton, basically getting across the Warrenton Pike. But for right now, we'll handle our initial troop dispensations. My one criticism of the game so far is that it doesn't appear to tell you when you have new troops arriving on the battlefield, so you just kind of have to keep an eye out for it. It'd be really nice if, I believe they had like a pop-up or something that alerted you in the previous version of the game that you had new troops arriving. So anyway, I'm just going to march. I'm not going to march them too far up toward the stone bridge, but basically I'm just going to get them fairly close until I can get my artillery up. And here's my artillery arriving. So it's a little hard to see. This is a hill here, and this is where I wish, again, the contours would show this better, but this is kind of fairly elevated ground, so I'm going to put I'll highlight both of these guys, and I'm going to put them both right there. There's both of my artillery units, the 2nd U.S. and the 1st U.S. We got the 2nd Ohio, the 2nd New York, and the 1st Ohio. Ohio was kind of an interesting state in the Union because they were pretty close to split on sympathies for the Confederate or for the Union. The south half of Ohio had a lot of what was called Copperheads, which were Confederate sympathizers. So even though Ohio technically did join the Union, they had a lot of Confederate sympathizers that basically ended up joining the Confederacy. So I've got my initial troop dispensation out. I've got my cavalry kind of in a little high ground area, I believe, with some... so they're unlimbered now. They're ready to shoot. I don't have them halt. I don't want them moving around anymore. So sometimes your troops will start moving around if you're not careful. So let's send out my first group, the New York boys. And then I'm actually going to combine the 2nd and 1st Ohio into one large group so that I've got basically less to deal with. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Basically stop them. Alright, so we're picking up some initial shots from... sorry. And I'm going to go ahead and combine them. If I can. There we go. Combine. Yep, combined division. So hopefully I can get some eyes on the Confederates here. There we go. We got some eyes on them now. And we're going to go ahead and start firing with our cannons. Get some counter battery fire going here. So Clay's Dragoons are going to try and come across the bridge, but they're quickly repulsed. So now Tyler, I've got this Tyler's group here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my 2nd New York up. We're going to just have some standoff fighting here. Once Tyler gets up closer, I'll do some standoff fighting for a while, and then I might attempt a charge. So you can see I've killed 23, my deaths are 42. This is kind of a nice new view that shows what's going on. I like this a little better than what was there before. So basically you have to watch their morale condition and the cover that they're in. So these guys are going to be in basically 100% cover because they're in a fortification. I'm just going to go straight across and go into a charge with Tyler. I got 1,600 men to 600. I'll probably fail in the initial charge here, but it's worth a try. 3-to-1 odds is pretty solid as an attacker. So as you can see, we made it to the barricades. 2nd New York can then move up, but we're basically just looking to have them support with some fire here. If we can rout the defenders, yep, they've routed. Or we've routed? I can't tell. No, we've routed. Shoot. So I'm going to go ahead and fire in with the 2nd New York to follow up before the enemy can get reorganized. See if I can... I actually made it to the barricades, which was nice. So the 2nd New York is going to follow up and charge through as well. They're taking pretty large losses now, but they're into the melee. Hopefully we can recover Tyler here before he gets too far away. So the 2nd New York's running. The Dragoons are following up. This could be bad. Okay, fortunately the Dragoons held off. Still being routed. See, I had a group of some cavalry scouts show up. I'll just ride them down. There we go. Now Tyler's coming back. The Dragoons are coming across. So we're going to bring Tyler up and start firing on the Dragoons as they try to cross the bridge. 2nd New York is not back under my control yet. They're still routed. think I'm going to try to cross this ford with my scouts. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move Tyler back forward, my 2nd New York back forward. Actually, I'm going to hold off with Tyler. Move the 2nd New York back forward. Their morale's pretty low, but they can get into a standoff battle, hopefully. So I'm still learning the controls a little bit. You can use shift to turn your troops around. Uh-oh. Run away, scouts. We found some skirmishers and a small group of the 4th South Carolina. So basically we're just setting up at range to keep them from crossing back across the bridge here. Alright, I'm going to bring my scouts around. I'm just going to have them hold up in this area so that I'm protecting my artillery. Alright, like I said, so I've had a whole bunch more infantry show up while I was talking. Got some cavalry here. I'm going to go ahead and ride up to the hill and see what happens with them. Griffin. For right now, I'm going to take my artillery. So I know the Confederates are probably guarding this hill, so I'm going to start my artillery moving up into this tree-lined area. I'm going to have Burnside move up to here, and I'm going to keep him in the trees as well. McDowell is my general unit, so he's the commander of the army. He basically everything within his area of influence gets a bonus, so I'm going to have him move up to the trees as well. And I'm going to have Porter move up to these trees. I just want to make sure I didn't put my artillery further forward. I did. Okay. I'm going to move my artillery back a little further. So Griffin will be behind. Griffin, he's the artillery guy. Burnside, there we go. Burnside's going to move straight up into the front of the grove there. Alright, so I've got some arrivals coming in, and there'll be more here shortly as well. So I'll go back to live view. Oh shit, I'm still on somebody else. I gotta deselect. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if our cavalry spots anything. If we can make it up to the top of the hill and just kind of entrench in this town, that'd be nice. I'm gonna hit pause real quick to make sure I've got what I want going on over here. I'm going to move Tyler up a little closer so he's within range. Alright. Now I'll keep my eyes over here for right now because I'm not sure there might be Confederates in this area. There historically were Confederates guarding this ridge line, so oh, there we go. Okay, so the Confederates are massing and coming up. Let's move my cavalry over here so we don't get killed. Actually, let's move my... yeah. Let's move my cavalry up here. I'm going to try to use my cavalry to flank and take out some of their artillery since they've got, looks like 2 units of artillery. They're going to beat me to the hill, so there's no reason to attempt anything different there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and switch my guns to, instead of counter battery fire, we're going to fire straight on the 1st Louisiana there. I don't know where Tyler's going. And again, I got a whole bunch more troops showing up now. So I'm going to bring these guys down into this forest down here. I'm keeping the enemy fairly well occupied at the stone bridge for now. Why are we running away, guys? Okay, I'm going to move them back forward. Looks like the Confederate artillery's about out of ammo, is what it said. So we're going to go ahead and try another charge here. We're just over 2-to-1 odds. We're in pretty good condition to start. Oh, we're over 50%, so we should get there. Compared to these guys who are at 19% condition. Condition is basically how much charge energy you have. And then we're going to fire on them with the 2nd New York from here. And we made it through their lines with our charge. I'm going to try to attempt to follow up with my scouts. I probably should have had them closer. So Tyler's exhausted, which isn't great, but I'll attempt to follow up with my cavalry. Tyler's been routed, but they're close to routing too. They're blinking. So my scouts are going to follow up the attack with their own charge, and so they should get there as well, although they're being decimated. Alright, they got there. So the scouts are doing some damage, but they're getting killed off a lot quicker than they're doing anything. I want to try to get them all the way up here to the... Alright, the scouts have been routed. We're coming back across. Alright, let's go ahead and hit pause. I don't know what showed up here. Ah, Keys. Keys is actually going to be pretty useful. So I'm going to bring... We had a pretty good amount of Confederates right here, so I'm going to bring Keys right down to that crossing, because I need to secure that going forward. Let's see here. Porter's almost up. Burnside's up. Griffin's almost to where I want him. I'm going to keep everybody in the trees for right now. Howard has not been... Okay, Ricketts. I got some more artillery. So I'm going to put the artillery together. I'm not sure where I want to put them yet. Howard has not been sent yet. So basically I bring him forward as well. I've got a lot of troops there, so I should be able to take that hill. Alright, Tyler, come on back, buddy. Alright, so the battle for the Stone Bridge is basically over now, because Hampton's Legion's up, and they've got 1,100 troops. So I'm not going to be able to attack back across. So basically what I'm going to have to try to do now is hold the line, unless Hampton's Legion looks like it's leaving, actually. So I might be able to do a little more. I'm going to bring Tyler back up to within range, so he can attack that 1st Louisiana again. Make sure everybody's moving along here. Okay, supply wagon. A supply wagon gives supplies to everything in their circle of influence, so I'm going to keep them with McDowell and the artillery. McDowell and the artillery are going to stay together. I'm going to take my cavalry battalion out for a little bit of a jaunt here. Alright, so we're just going to park Tyler at the base of the stone bridge, and we're going to shoot across at the enemy. Alright, the 2nd New York hopefully will rally. So we can see B, we can see the Dragoons. Dragoons are coming back my way now. I'm kind of interested to see what's over here with my cavalry battalion, so I'm going to go check that out. Everybody else is slowly marching up, so I'll wait till they all get there. I'm going to see if I can hit the backside of this little ford with this cavalry battalion. Now that Keyes is almost up, I'm going to actually have them halt right now. I want to be ready to hit it if Keyes finds some advantageous situation there. So I'm not sure how they're... March the 2nd New York back up. So basically I think I've achieved, you know, I didn't actually get to cross and take this position, which would have been nice. I was really close right at the beginning. I feel like I had a 3-to-1 odds on an attack. I might have waited to whittle them down a little more. Alright, so again we've had more troops show up, so I need to hit pause here. There's Sherman, Ayres, and Hunt, which are two artillery batteries. I'm going to move the two I like to keep my artillery massed together, so I'm going to take them both down here. I'm going to have Sherman follow up with Keyes. And then I don't have anything else going on up here really. So I'm going to move Wilcox forward. I'm going to move Franklin forward. I think with my two artillery groups, I might want to just park them right here where Burnside is now. I'll wait till everybody gets up before I do anything there. But I think I'll be able to take this little ford. Keyes has got almost 3,000 men there. They're in good condition, good morale. Oh, that's Burnside I'm looking at. There's Keyes. Pretty good condition, good morale. And I've got cavalry to charge the rear of the enemy's position behind. Moving Sherman up. So Tyler has been routed. Basically, I just want to keep them from attacking across. So I just need to hold the stone bridge. Keyes does... Okay, there's that 4th South Carolina. So I'll go ahead and attack that with Keyes. And I'm going to pile in with the cavalry as well and see if I can rout them, keep them from defending. It's hard to cross a creek, so there's some skirmishers there. Go ahead and hit them. I should have probably just hit the back of this 4th FC. And my cavalry, that was a terrible cavalry charge. I should have had my cavalry come up behind the 4th FC instead of running into the skirmishers. Alright, it looks like my New York unit has finally broken. So I'll keep Tyler out of the battle for right now. So I'm going to move Sherman even further up, and then I'll once Keyes is back up in condition, I'll charge with him across the river there. Alright, I think I've got everybody up over here now, so I'm going to go ahead and hit pause, and we are going to start our attack. So I'm going to move Burnside forward. I'm going to move Porter forward. That should allow me to move Griffin up to right here, and Ricketts up to right here. McDowell will stay right there. Supplies will move up right to where the artillery is. I'm going to give them an initial frontal look here from this side, and then I'm going to try to wheel in from the south with Franklin and Howard. We'll see how that works. Basically, I'll pin down the enemy position with these three, and then try to wheel in from the southwest with these two. And then over here, my cavalry battalion, I'm going to go ahead and keep them by my artillery to help out potentially if they run any cavalry over there. So it is hard to attack across a creek. So I'm trying to make sure I can get across and stay across, unlike I did last time. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and unlimber both of these. Okay, they're unlimbered. I guess they unlimbered automatically. Porter's marching forward. I'm going to shift Wilcox so that we're overlapping there. So we've spotted some Rebs up on the hillside with our cannons. And then I'm going to shift Porter so that he's aligned like this. Let me go see what's going on over here. I think I've got pretty close to what I want over there. Keys is in 92% condition, so I think they are primed to go for an attack. So with Sherman, I'm going to have Sherman move up just a bit. No, I don't know what we're doing here. Sherman is just going to, he's still within range, so they're going to attack, and then Keys, I'm going to go ahead and do a full-out charge right now. Move all my artillery a little further forward here. So Keys got across. I'm going to go ahead and follow up with Sherman. Hit those skirmishers. Alrighty, and then with Porter, I'm going to start Porter to get him going forward first. Wheel Burnside just a little bit to align with Porter. And then get him going. Wheel Wilcox just a hair and then get him going. I'm going to march them around the side here. Porter, stay there. Halt, 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 Porter. Alright, so my wheel's working pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause real quick while I figure this out. So we've captured the South Carolina Brigade. So now with Sherman, I'm going to get Sherman up into these trees, and I'm going to cross with Keys across the bridge. And I'm going to take these South Carolina prisoners and march them back across over to there. Alright. So it looks like I'm about to take this hill. They've only left B up there, so I don't know where the rest of their troops went. So I'm actually going to keep this group kind of halted here to protect my flank, and then Franklin's going to go around and see what we can do here with Franklin. It's kind of fun that you can just draw the movement you want. I'm going to stop them from moving double time, though. I'm going to keep... actually, I'll keep Franklin moving double time. See if I can get all the way around the enemy and trap B here. Okay, so this is actually a good spot to, I'll go ahead and save and then record next time. So this is kind of the end of that first main phase of the battlefield. So the rebels are withdrawing to Henry Hill, which is down here now. So again, a bit of this is on rails. It's, you know, the rebels are always going to withdraw. I've got overwhelming forces. They could technically make a stand if I wasn't good enough. Then they would never have to withdraw, and the game would just end. So it's not completely on rails, but given the amount of forces I have at this point, and they don't have their reinforcements up, it really makes sense for them to try to withdraw and save some of their forces rather than dying right here. But hopefully, since I've got Franklin and Howard kind of pretty far forward along this road, I might be able to cut off some of their forces' retreats by getting into some cover. Cover is really important in this game. Basically, it massively affects how much damage gets done to your forces. So if I can get Howard up into this cover and catch B retreating, I can probably capture their group. And then I'll have to reorganize this group to attack across towards Henry Hill in a little while here. Sherman and Keyes should be able to attack, and I'll take the stone bridge so that I can cross with my artillery. So basically, that's my next goal here. Is now that I'm across Bull Run here with Sherman, I'll get Keyes across. Keyes and Sherman will come down south, wipe out whatever's left of the rebels here. They'll probably just retreat back across to Henry Hill as well, and then we'll set up an artillery outpost on this hill with one group of infantry. I'm not sure how much quite yet. I'll have to see how much infantry I put here, defending this ford to keep the artillery from getting killed. I'll probably actually put the infantry in the town so that they can defend anything, because there's still these dragoons up here. There might still be some rebels in this area too. So I'll probably put my infantry in the town and then probably try to dispense my artillery along this hillside that's overlooking Henry Hill. So I think if I can get my all my artillery over here, lest the couple batteries I have up here, I'll probably dispense along this hill, and then I should have pretty good ability to shoot across. The only trouble with this layout is obviously the Confederacy has interior lines right now, meaning I'm dispensed around this whole long arc of a circle, and their dispensation on Henry Hill is this narrow area, so they can move. It's called interior lines because you can rapidly move troops back and forth to help out the left flank or the right flank or the center, whereas in order for me to move troops from the left flank to the right flank, I'd have to move all the way around here. Anyways, this is what General Lee was really good at in the Civil War, was finding areas of terrain that basically created an interior lines scenario for him, and that's exactly why the Confederates have retreated back to Henry Hill in this case. They see this natural bend in the river. It forces the Union to cross either on this flank or this flank, and it's a very, very, very long distance between, which allows them to subsequently counterattack wherever I'm weakest and really drive through. So we'll see where we get on the next video, but I think that'll do it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed the first part of this scenario. I think I probably could have done a little better at this stone bridge. I tried to take it a little too quickly and lost a lot of forces there, so that wasn't great. But I think my attack on Matthews Hill went pretty well, even though I waited for everybody to get up. I organized it well. I've got basically well over 4 to 1 odds up here against B, so B should have to retreat pretty quickly. And then I've also got him flanked to the south and west, so I might be actually able to capture B, which would be pretty cool. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and save there and end the video.